Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. As Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. reopens today after temporary closure, the minority in Parliament is demanding that the Foreign Affairs Minister appears before the House to justify the decision.
So why are we seeing reckless closure of the place? And we demand that the Foreign Minister must appear before Parliament to explain. Otherwise.
Also coming up, Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association appeals for immediate financial clearance for 599 trained pharmacist house officers, warning delay could endanger lives. And much later, Narcotics Control Commission, in collaboration with customs officials at Tema Port, intercept 20-foot container carrying a consignment of tramadol. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. will officially reopen today, May 29, following a temporary closure due to an IT breach and corruption allegations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed the resumption of full consular services with strengthened integrity measures and a new team of diplomats in place. The shutdown came after a locally hired IT staffer was found to have embedded an unauthorized link on the embassy's website, redirecting visa and passport applicants to a private company charging illegal fees. The scheme allegedly went undetected for 5 years. All home-based staff were recalled and local staff suspended pending investigations. Now, an IT team has since reconfigured the embassy's website and payment systems, removing all unauthorized links. Also, a new diplomatic team led by a senior ministry official has been deployed to oversee reforms and restore public trust. The Auditor General and Attorney General are currently investigating the incident. Meanwhile, Parliament Minority Caucus has criticized the closure as reckless, demanding the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa to appear before the House. Deputy Minority Leader Beatrice Adu emphasized their stance.
If you withdraw the staff there, how will the embassy function? You have to shut it down until you send a replacement staff. So you disengage.
We don't want a situation whereby the embassy is closed without any parliamentary consultation. We are told, it is at the full support of the president. But we know how the processes with which we can execute before such closure. It is the one person who has committed that. So why are we seeing reckless closure of the place? Have we assessed the diplomatically costly exercise which they have undertaken? It is important that that person is brought to book. Then we demand that the Foreign Minister must appear before Parliament to explain. Otherwise, our job as an oversight, being responsible for overseeing the performance of these sectors, will not be properly executed.
And you heard right there, Deputy Minority Leader Beatrice Adu. In contrast, the Majority Caucus has rather praised Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa for swiftly addressing the issue and safeguarding Ghana's reputation. Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga commended the response.
If you withdraw the staff there, how will the embassy function? You have to shut it down until you send a replacement staff. So you disengage, or he suspended the local staff that were engaged, and then he withdrew immediately our staff, and he immediately dispatched a new team who will be arriving there, I think, this morning, and by tomorrow, Thursday, the embassy will be fully operational and functional. Please tell me how wrong this decision is. Because you can't also allow them to remain there and continue to undermine the image and reputation of your country. By the time we heard, the intelligence agencies in those countries have picked it up. And then the public that is, assessing our services have picked it up. So you have to take quick and immediate measures to redeem the image of the country. And I will highly commend the Minister for Foreign Affairs for the swiftness, the steadfastness, and the commitment to fighting corruption and maintaining our reputation as a country that will not tolerate corruption anywhere, anytime, anyhow. So I don't think that there's anything to be worried about in terms of the measures taken. They have been swift, they are effective. The disruption is not significant, just about 1 or 2 days. And so it will not materially, affect the services that people are requesting for. And I don't think we should make too much. We should be commending the minister for taking such action. As for the minister coming to Parliament to explain, when I called him yesterday, you saw he came into the chamber, and he was actually ready and available to explain to Parliament exactly what happened, except that we had a lot of business, and we said, let's reschedule for you to come and explain to Parliament.
And you heard right there, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga. The Narcotics Control Commission, NARCOC, in collaboration with customs officials at the Tema Port, has intercepted a 20-foot container carrying a consignment of tramadol exceeding the legally permitted dosage of 100 milligrams. The exercise has also revealed 99 cartons of Tramal X120, a combination of tramadol and carisoprodol at 120 milligram strength, alongside some quantity of sisal fiber. The container, which appeared ordinary for general cargo, was flagged and unstaffed, leading to the discovery of the concealed controlled substances. Let's speak to Lawyer Chumberima. He's Deputy Director General, Narcotics Control Commission. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, madam.
Are you able to tell us the circumstances that led to the interception beyond what I just read?
Oh, the whole thing is what you said. We flagged it because the container that was supposed to be, I think it was coming from Kenya, and that is a source, into Ghana. But we did that there was some content of it that was suspected. So we got it examined, and after that, we got to know that it was, carrying some products that were not permitted to be entered into the country. Yeah. So that led to the arrest. Or the hold up of the container.
Are you able to tell us when exactly this happened?
It was just yesterday.
Yesterday. And what is the legal implications for the importers or entities involved in this?
The very company that we cited is saying that they have nothing to do with it, that they are not even aware how their company name was used to place such an order. So that is their first response that they have given us officially in writing. But because investigation has commenced into it, we will go further and then know whether or not they are giving us the actual truth or not.
So what you're confirming is that NARCOX has started investigation into this incident?
Exactly, please.
And any arrests?
Not yet. Like I said, that we first fell on the very company whose name was on the consignment or the documentations. And they have responded to us in writing that they are not aware that their company has been, they have not placed such an order further to know how it came in and how their name was involved or got involved.
Are you able to tell us what steps are being taken by NARCOC to prevent similar incidents?
Well, you see, the prevention, the only thing we can do is to always get the container seized at the port. And that will not even allow it to come out of the port. But as you are, as you know, no, you wouldn't know that as we are speaking, someone is in, let's say, India or let's say America, trying to ship this kind of container to Ghana. We wouldn't know. until the thing gets to the sea and then gets to the destination, which is Ghana, and then we can get hold of it.
I asked you that question. I asked you that question because I'm sure you're aware that there have been numerous reports that indicate that Ghana is a transit point. Shouldn't that worry you? That the fact that people, I know you're making a lot of arrests, but the fact that you have a lot of these coming in perhaps should be indicative that indeed they could easily get away.
Getting away now is a problem. That one, you can't just get away because we are wide awake. But the challenge is that, in most countries, they have two border posts to control, i.e. the air and then the land. Unfortunately for us, we have three border lines to control, the sea, the air, and the land. So it makes the work more tedious because with regard to the sea, in as much as the port is only the approved entry point or exit point, indirectly, some unapproved routes have been created by some individuals. And so that makes the work a bit difficult. But in all this, we are doing all our possible best to cover all the routes that are unapproved and even the approved ones as well to beef up our numbers to ensure that we can always apprehend these things at the onset and not to allow it to, get out before we can go out and chase it. No.
My last question to you, I heard you talk about boosting up your numbers, but any interagency or international collaboration to help with this operation?
Oh, yeah. For that, yes. As you noted, even with this one, we did it alongside customs. International, yes. We have all, as a drug enforcement agency, the world or the various countries, the drug enforcement agencies, we collaborate together on most issues. So we share intelligence. So, for instance, if the American end get to know that something of this sort is heading towards Ghana, they'll prompt us. And so immediately it gets into Ghana, we can just go for it.
Lawyer Chumberima, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you, too.
And I heard that Lawyer Chumberima, he's Deputy Director General with the Narcotics Control Commission. Some 12 minutes past the hour of 12 now. The second accused in the office of the Special Prosecutor corruption case against Charles Bissiou, Andy Thomas Owusu, has applied for a plea bargain. Prosecutors have disclosed to the Accra High Court. On Thursday, May 29, prosecutors from the OSP prayed for more time to finalize negotiations and documentation with the second accused. Andy Thomas Owusu has been charged together with the former secretary of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissiou, with 15 counts of multiple offences involving the abuse of office, corruption and efforts to undermine lawful mining regulations. Lord Edwasare is our legal affairs correspondent. He's been in court. He joins us live on the phone now. Lord, just bring us the latest on this.
Right, Beatrice. So the case before the court being prosecuted or leading the prosecution is the Office of the Special Prosecutor, has to do with the former secretary of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissiou, and a former aide to the Ashanti Regional Chairperson, this person is Andy Thomas Owusu. Now, if you recall, between January and February 2019, there was an expose carried out by Tiger IPI where Charles Bissiou was captured taking some money to circumvent the laid-down procedure in renewing licenses for mining companies. Now, this is the case that is being put forward in front of the court. Charles Bissiou and Thomas Owusu are facing 15 charges. Now, Charles Bissiou is facing about 9 charges, including using his public office for gain and then corruption by public officer, while Andy also is facing corrupting a public officer, aiding and abetting, and bribing, right? So, in court today, I need to put this on record too that both of them are on a 200,000 bail with 2 sureties to be justified. But in court today, we got to know that through the prosecution that Andy also has written a letter to the prosecution for a plea bargain, meaning that he's going to plead guilty and for a reduced sentence and then cough out the amount of money. So the prosecution indicated to the court that they want more time to finalize these dealings with Andy Owusu's lawyers file the disclosures that they need to, because they haven't completed that. So they serve as disclosures to the defense lawyers, and they also, and then Charles Bishop. But particularly and they also do have to further the negotiations or the issue that surrounds the plea bargaining request. And so the case has been adjourned to June 4, by which time the court is hoping that these documentation or disclosures would have been done, and then we'll know how far the plea bargaining request is or where they have gotten to as far as that is concerned with Andy Thomas also.
Thank you very much, Lord Edwasare. He's our Court Affairs correspondent. And speaking of legal issues and accountability, the Ashanti Regional MPP Chairman Bernard Enchiboesiakon, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, again Wednesday night behind bars at the Economic and Organised Crime Office headquarters in Accra. This was after failing to meet bail conditions. His lawyer says that Wontumi is now under investigation by IOCO for quote-unquote causing financial loss to the state, a serious offense that could have far-reaching legal and political consequences if proven. Noble Crosby-Annan is on the line with us. Noble, what's the bail condition?
Well, Chairman Wontumi Beatrice, he's expected to make available some 50 million cedis with 2 sureties. That is the bill that has been set. He has granted bill to the tune of 50 million cedis with 2 sureties, those of which must be justified. And that's a hurdle his legal team has been unable to clear up until now. So as we speak, the team has been able to provide 1 surety justified, but there's 1 more to make available. So Chairman Wontumi is still not a free man, if you like. It's still not been able to go home or granted bill because his team has not been able to provide the 50 million cedis with 2 sureties as we speak. 1 surety has been made available, but there's 1 more to satisfy.
There's 1 more to satisfy. What else should we expect in the coming hours and days?
Well, his lawyers and the appeals will be, he confirmed that they are working around the clock and they are hopeful that the petitions will be met soon. He also said this is part of an ongoing police inquiry and they are complying fully, and hopefully the conditions will be met soon. If you come to the headquarters of the IOCO, the place is calm, the place is serene, a few police presence, but supporters not as many as there were yesterday.
Thank you very much, Noble Crosby-Annan, bringing us update on the Chairman Wontumi issue. 18 minutes past the hour of 12. This is still the midday news on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us.
Freezer, yeah, diaba. Adama for diaba. Freezer. Adama. Akuafo semenhia. Adama. Metimoswa. Ma sorry. Kanino. Obo mo ase a. Adu frefre no bia mienu miensa na se 9. After what we dia kwase. Adama for aduna kuafo ho hu se. Ye de aduro ba kope. Ebe shifu ye bia. High technology. Akofo freezer ba. Wenku a. Eno anto benya 15 latest. No hwiegum. What ya no hwiegum. What the boss here? For you be any of us, you equal to say, over Timono. No more you sure say, mention task here. No more send off for now. Freezer, power up a day. Freezer, Dacia, a person does so among Amoniaji. To me, me was sick. To me, but you may not do some doom. Adama, without Adama, no queer. Adama, you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for edwe bi wo baby biara ye ton kraye ho edwu afi kayo ne kenkan enchoya ewo edre ho.
And you're still here on the midday news on 3FM 92.7. Thank you for joining, staying with us. Now, tongues are wagging, and for good reason. Godwin Asidiva's latest expose pulls back the cutting on Red 225, the dangerous opioid silently gripping Ghana's youth. As the documentary premieres, the public is jolted by sad images and raw testimonies. But amid the commentary, there's a story of a user, Safia Azumi Faustina, who is hooked on Red.
Safia Azumi Faustina. Her body trembled under the influence of a drug she could barely name, and with vacant eyes, she offered herself for sex for as little as 20 Ghana cedis. We walked deep into the ghetto, far from where I found her, just so I could hear her story. Her eloquence struck me. Too sharp, too clear for someone so consumed. I wondered why.
My parents forever once never gave me to believe in second chance.
She could barely keep her balance. She had just taken a few tablets and the euphoria had taken hold.
Nothing. Because I could maybe bleed sometimes and it comes so hard. I deserve to take some pills and feel relieved. I take pills most times. I would take injection too.
A mother of a 9-year-old boy. Her moments of joy are fleeting. She has endured too much, and Red has only made it worse.
My kid is 9 years. I got operated of appendix.
You?
Yes, please. Before I give birth to my child. And I guess I'm fine. Sometimes I could take some tablets to just feel so hefty to work.
Not long ago, she collapsed hard. The jagged scar on her shoulder is a reminder of the price she's paid.
Yes.
Godwin Asidiba with that excerpt of that documentary there, and you'll find more of that on 3news.com and on all our social media platforms. We stay on health, and the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association is currently appealing to the Ministry of Finance to grant immediate financial clearance for the engagement of 599 trained pharmacist house officers whose postings have been delayed. This appeal comes as 333 current house officers complete their tenure at the end of the month, a situation that threatens to cause major disruptions in pharmaceutical services across the country. Now, GOSPA warns that further delays could lead to severe consequences, including increased medication errors, disrupted 24-hour clinical pharmacy services, heightened pharmacist burnout, and compromised patient safety, given that the Ghana Health Service has not permanently recruited pharmacists in the past 5 years. Now, GOSPA is urging the government to act immediately to prevent a collapse in pharmaceutical care, emphasizing that the delay in financial clearance not only endangers lives but also undermines healthcare delivery nationwide. We're joined on the line now by Dr. Emmanuel Owusu Oriafe, National Chairman, Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
If you're able to tell us immediately who is the most at risk in the list of the consequences we are likely to see, the government is unable to do something about this situation now.
We are going to have our patients, particularly our inpatients, and then our chronic care patients who need our services for provision of chemotherapy drugs, provision of antihypertensive and then diabetic drugs, as well as those in HIV and then other chronic care conditions.
Now, tell us whether ever since you issued that threat or warning, as it were, you've received any response from the government or the finance ministry?
Unfortunately, as of this morning, no, we have not received any assurances. That is why we are making this call. We believe they are very much in tune with what is happening, and they would act expeditiously on it, so that, we will get the pharmacists on board. And as our statement indicated, we have these 599 pharmacists who are ready. They are ready to give up their best, exercise their professional duties to the care of patients who seek our services. All we kindly request from government through the Ministry of Finance is to give them this financial clearance. And I think the issue needs to be, emphasized well. The point is that they are barely just a little over 1,000 pharmacists across the various teaching hospitals, regional hospitals, district hospitals, and including even the CHAG, that's the Christian Health Association of Ghana facilities. And there's these pharmacists who are 7 or if you look at the 333 who currently came in as house officers, they indeed augment our workforce. In fact, especially as we indicated that for the past 5 years, the government hasn't had any permanent recruitment of pharmacists. And so to lose barely even 30% of this number is definitely going to, is going to stretch us, and we are going to have, direct repercussions.
Moving forward, this is not the first time we're seeing this challenge. What kind of structural measures or systems do you believe must be put in place to, deal with this recurrent issue?
And we believe fundamentally the Ministry of Finance should prioritize clearance for pharmacists. We are very much aware, despite the several budgetary constraints that has been touted over the years, there are recruitment of some other healthcare workers. Pharmacists cater for more than 98% of patients who will seek care at the health facility level, and so there should be that prioritization. We are very much aware that our regulatory agency, Pharmacy Council, is working hand in hand, and so they have the data of our pharmacists who have appropriately been who have completed their qualifying exams and are very qualified to deliver their services. So once the numbers are there, they should liaise with them and then give the financial clearance on time. This will allow the posting of these house officers to get to the facilities and then deliver the quality services that are demanded of them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oyafi, for speaking to us.
Thank you.
And you had Dr. Emmanuel Oyafi. He's the national chairman with the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association. We head to the north now because dozens of passengers commuting from Salaga to Tamale this morning were left stranded as drivers refused to comply with a 15% reduction in transport fares. The drivers earlier reduced the fares by only 10% instead of the 15% reduction as announced by the GPRTU. But yesterday, the Municipal Chief Executive for East Gonja, Yazid Kasim, and the Municipal Security Committee mounted pressure on them to further reduce the prices to 15% or risk closing the station. The drivers therefore decided not to work today, saying they could not reduce beyond the 10%. Christopher Mwako was at the station. He joins us live now on the phone. Chris, quite an interesting development coming from your end, but just tell us whether the drivers have decided now to agree with GPRTU.
Yes, so the drivers have not in principle agreed, but because some of the passengers have agreed that for them they will pay the 45 Ghana cedis for them to send them. They have taken some of them there because most of them said they were going for health review. Others said they were attending workshops and other promotion interviews. And so those people who have agreed that they are willing to pay the 45 Ghana cedis, they have sent them. But those who still believe that until the 15% is implemented, they are not going to agree. They are still stranded at the station.
I want you to hold on as we listen to a station manager, and we'll come back to wrap up our conversation.
Passengers are stranded, seated here. Even some say they even pay 50. Some are going for review. Some are going for interview. Some are going for hair counts. All of them have took here. So now we don't know the means and ways we can help them. The ways, if you know you have a car, a private car in your house, you can pick it and go. Or you have a motorbike, you can go. You go. I'm for the station. I'm not for the drivers.
And you had a station master, obviously, Christopher, not willing to bend the rules per what they want to do. But tell us anything in terms of steps that could be taken to ensure that there's a compromise in this situation in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, so there's going to be a meeting between the East Gonja Municipal Security Committee and the drivers union so that they will resolve that matter, because if that is not resolved, it will bring a burden on the passengers who will be commuting from Salaga to Tamale.
Thank you very much, Christopher Mwakon. He's our Northern Region correspondent. And that's it for the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Log on to srinews.com for more news. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Christabel Success Treve. Coming up, new Ghana Statistical Service report reveals nearly 1 in 5 Ghanaians paid bribes for public services in 2024 as it urges urgent reforms. Also, African Development Bank projects Ghana's GDP growth to slow to 4.5% in 2025, despite improved outlook backed by mining and fiscal reforms. Plus, President Mahama points Volta Lake Economic Corridor as a crucial pillar of Ghana's proposed 24-hour economy.
New floating assets, lake ports, and long-term investment partnerships will be developed in coordination with the Volta River Authority and the private sector.
Well, we've got these stories and others lined up for you. Please stay. Let's settle for the details now, and a new report by the Ghana Statistical Service has laid bare the persistent challenge of corruption in public service delivery, revealing that nearly 1 in every 5 Ghanaian who dealt with public officials in 2024 paid bribes, mostly in cash, to access essential services. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. The Ghana Statistical Service is raising the alarm over the scale of corruption within public institutions following the release of its latest report, which shows that 18.4% of Ghanaians who interacted with public officials last year paid bribes, mainly in cash, to access basic services. The Governance Series Wave 1 report also paints a worrying picture of citizen disengagement, with 7 out of 10 respondents expressing frustration over the lack of opportunities to influence decisions in the current governance system. Bribery was more common among men, who accounted for more than 2/3 of those who admitted to giving money or gifts to public officials, while urban dwellers were also more likely to pay bribes compared to rural residents. The reports also revealed that persons living with disabilities were not spared, with individuals who have physical impairments recording the highest bribery rates. Regionally, Greater Accra topped the list of reported bribery cases, followed closely by Ashanti, while Savannah and Northeast recorded the lowest. That was a 3 Business News Desk report on new Ghana Statistical Service. Report reveals nearly 1 in 5 Ghanaians paid bribes for public services in 2024. Let's move on to other stories now. And Ghana's economy is projected to grow at a slower pace of 4.5% in 2025, down from 5.7% in 2024, according to the African Development Bank's 2025 economic outlook. The bank attributes the moderation in growth to reduce fiscal consolidation momentum and tighter monetary conditions, but notes that a rebound in mining and public finance reforms will offer support. Well, there's more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
Ghana's economic growth is expected to slow down to 4.5% in 2025 from 5.7% this year. That's according to the latest African Economic Outlook by the African Development Bank, AFDB. While the new projection marks an improvement over AFDB's earlier forecast of 4.3%, it still falls behind the 4.8% average growth expected by Ghanaian authorities, although it remains above the 4.1% forecast by the IMF and 3.9% by the World Bank. The AFDB attributes the expected moderation to weaker fiscal consolidation momentum and high interest rates. However, growth is expected to be supported by increased activity in the mining sector and ongoing public financial reforms. The fiscal deficit is projected to shrink to 3.5% of GDP in 2025, while Ghana's debt to GDP ratio is seen declining to 66.4% thanks to the debt restructuring and better tax compliance. Meanwhile, the report highlights risks such as climate change impacts, possible policy reversals, and spillovers from U.S. trade tariffs. Growth in 2024 was driven largely by the services sector and mining, while agriculture lagged behind due to poor weather affecting crop yields.
That was also a 3 Business News Desk report on African Development Bank projecting Ghana's GDP growth. One of the key components of the framework in Ghana's 24-hour economy proposal is the development of the Volta Lake Economic Corridor to redefine Ghana's production and logistics landscape. Speaking at the unveiling of the 24-hour economy framework in Accra, President Mahama highlighted the immense potential of the Volta Lake and its surrounding basin. This is envisioned as a national production zone and a strategic logistic hub, leveraging the vast resources of the lake to drive significant economic growth.
To support this corridor, the lake will be activated as a transport highway, moving food, people, and goods more efficiently than our congested roads allow us to do currently. New floating assets, lake ports, and long-term investment partnerships will be developed in coordination with the Volta River Authority and the private sector. We must move beyond just hydropower and unlock the broader economic potential of this beautiful national asset. But the Volta Lake Corridor is only part of the broader plan. The 24-hour economy program identifies priority value chains across all regions, and these include agro-processing, pharmaceuticals, textiles, light manufacturing, tourism, digital services, and the creative economy.
Well, you just heard there President John Dramani Mahama. Finance Minister Dr. Beatrice Adu Forsing appointed returning officer for AFDB presidential elections. Finance Minister has been appointed as a returning officer for the upcoming presidential elections of the African Development Bank. The appointment was confirmed during the bank's annual meetings currently underway, where key leadership decisions are being finalized. As returning officer, Dr. Forsing will oversee the electoral process to ensure transparency and fairness in selecting the next president of the Continental Bank. This role signals Ghana's growing influence in continental financial governance and multilateral institutions. The Director of Bank of Ghana's Governance Department, OSAGC, has emphasized the need for structural reforms to reboot the Ghanaian economy. He knows that current macroeconomic stability is insufficient and advocates for a stronger extractive sector and agricultural value addition, leveraging the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Stability strengthens the economic fundamentals, but structural transformation provides the direction for sustainable and inclusive growth. This implies that to fully reset Ghana's economy, we must broaden the growth model beyond the extractive sector. Undoubtedly, gold and cocoa are key drivers in the recovery process, but are limited in scope. We need to build on the extractive sector with value addition and diversification. What would we achieve by that? Long-term prosperity and employment generation. In so doing, we must leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area to position Ghana in a regional hub, as a regional hub for agro-processing, light manufacturing, and logistics, amongst others.
That was OSAGC, who is the Director of the Bank of Ghana's Governance. Minister for Energy and Green Transition John Jinapor has revealed that, in line with efforts to ensure value for money, his outfit will lay a bill before Parliament to mandate all power purchase agreements in the country to be carried out under a competitive bidding process. According to him, this is crucial to cutting energy costs in the country. Speaking at the opening of the 2025 West African Mining and Power Expo in Accra, he further added that the coming on stream of Ghana's second gas processing plant would make available a cheaper energy option for power generation.
We are also working on our PPAs. We are presenting an LI to Parliament to ensure that going forward, our power purchase agreements are done through competitive basis to ensure that we have the best price and value for money. We are also working to bring on board our second gas processing plant so that most of our thermal plants can run on gas instead of very expensive liquid fuels. We've established the Renewable Energy and Green Transition Fund, and I encourage all of you to contribute to this fund so that we can invest heavily in renewable energy. Last but not the least, we are on target to achieve universal access to electricity by 2030, given what we are doing.
Well, that was Energy and Green Transition Minister John Jinapor announcing that a bill is in the offing for competitive power purchase agreements. Well, that will be all for Business Daily. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Trevor. Enjoy the rest of our programs.